This problem that we're going to look at also comes to us from the 2006 test. We actually did this one a few weeks back, so you might remember it. But it says a few things that aren't tested anymore, like interface and abstract. So we've got something called an item, an abstract, taxable item. We're going to write one method in that taxable item class, and then we're going to write the vehicle class. One thing that we still do need to know, even though we don't need to know abstract and interface anymore, is that in this structure, a vehicle is a taxable item. And one of the things that kind of puzzled us previously was like writing subclass constructors. So one thing that we'll pay attention to then is to be a taxable item, you have to have a double. So if you want to be a taxable item, you must provide a double for the tax rate. And a vehicle is a taxable item. So for the vehicle class to extend taxable items, which we'll do in part B, we're going to have to send one double up from the vehicle class to the taxable item class. And we're going to have to do that with the word super to reach this super class constructor. Okay, so just a little thing to remember there. So in part A, we're just supposed to write this purchase price method. And the directions are pretty easy. They just tell us that the purchase price is simply the list price. Now, the one thing that's a little bit weird is we don't have a variable for the list price. So if you look, there's no double. It says, this is the list price. So we have to just rely on that abstract method, which is a little strange. We don't need that anymore. And then we're going to multiply this by 1 plus whatever the tax rate is. And the reason for the 1 is just to make this like 100%, make it get larger. Okay, so that's really it for part A. And then in part B, we're going to start writing this vehicle class. And I've done a little bit here. So public class vehicle extends taxable item. The directions tell us that we have to have a dealer cost and a dealer markup, and that we need to accept those as arguments in the constructor, as well as a tax rate. And this is kind of ambiguous, but I believe that they want that to be the order. So working under that idea, when I write my constructor, I'm going to say public vehicle, and I'm going to hand it 3 doubles. And so in a row, I'm going to say, all right, here's the dealer cost. Okay, here's the dealer markup, and then here is the tax rate. Why didn't I make a third variable for the tax rate? Well, remember what we were just discussing. That tax rate has to go from the subclass up to the superclass. That's mandatory. We absolutely have to write that line of code, and it has to be first. Okay. At that point, I would take my dealer cost and my dealer markup, and I would go ahead and initialize those with the 2 values that we see here. So dealer cost would become DC, okay, and then my dealer markup would become DM. Okay, so once we've got this set up, now we can go on and write a couple of methods. There's actually 2 methods that we're going to need. One of them is sort of implicitly defined, and the other one's explicit. We have to write get list price. That's an abstract method in superclass, so it has to be implemented here. The list price is simply the sum of the dealer markup and the dealer cost. So not very difficult to write that. Okay, so this is a double return method, public double get list price. Try that again. Okay, and no parameters required. We're simply relying on instance fields. So we're going to return the dealer cost and the dealer markup. Okay, and then the other method is a little bit more explicitly defined here. It's called change markup, and we need to accept a parameter here that would be the new markup value. This is simply a modifier method, so I'm going to void the return. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really say you have to void it. I just don't know what you would return. So change markup. This has to accept as a double whatever the new markup is. So maybe I'll just call it like NM. And then I'll take the dealer markup and lowercase u and change it to NM. Okay, and like I said, you might remember doing this problem a few weeks ago. So let's see what it does. If you look, those are the same values that were in the directions: 24, 750, 23, 100. And we see that here: 24, 750, 23, 100. So yeah, this is working like it is. Now, again, not really going to see this this year, especially 2020, our modified exam. In addition to not having interface and abstract, I don't believe you're going to be writing an entire class, but still a good problem to practice with. And if you didn't know that, now you do.